All right, so Metroid Prime 4 comes out tomorrow, and I'm sure we have all seen the reviews from earlier this week. It's sitting at about an 80 right now on Metacritic. Sometimes it jumps up to around 81 or drops down to 79. Now, some people are rightfully confused by the score because when you listen to a lot of these reviews, yes, they have some issues with the game. The empty desert feels a little too empty sometimes. Some of the characters are talking to Samus, I know, right? And some of the dialogue feels a little flat. Some hints here and there are a little bit annoying, so it's obviously not perfect. But the core Metroid Prime experience that you're looking for is absolutely there. The isolation, the controls, the music, the atmosphere, the gameplay. That's what's most important. Now, personally, I don't think that an 80 is a bad score by any means, or even a 79 for that matter. But I just couldn't help but notice just how close the current Prime 4 score is to another Metroid game, Metroid Other M. But guys, if you're enjoying these videos, please try and hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. We're dropping consistent Switch 2 content here on the channel. All right, so you'll definitely want to stick around. Thank you so much. Now, full disclosure, I've never played Other M. I wasn't too much of a Metroid fan back in 2010 at the time, but I always thought it looked pretty interesting. And a couple months back, I was even thinking of trying to see if I could give it a shot. But after doing a bit of research on it, yeah, never mind. I think I'm just gonna play Prime 4 this week instead. I wanted to play it because I thought it looked cool, but mostly I really wanted to understand what it was that gave Other M one of the lowest scores in the Metroid franchise, other than Federation Force, of course. So far from what I've heard and read, there are three main issues that I can gather that really alter the core that most other Metroid experiences have pretty much perfected over the years. Now, first off are the controls. I originally thought that I would be able to play this game like I played Call of Duty on the Wii, just in third person, right? Wii remote in one hand for aiming and the nunchuck in the other hand for movement. Pretty standard stuff. Sounds good to me. They probably should have done this, but instead they decided on a different control scheme, which was holding the Wii remote sideways like it's a 2D side scroller, even though this is a 3D game, and flipping it vertically in mid-combat to essentially ADS to use your missiles or the grapple beam. Using the classic controller or even the GameCube controller apparently wasn't an option, which really blows my mind the most. And I personally think that this was probably the biggest issue with Other M, and it played a huge role in people's lack of enjoyment with this title. Now, the second issue that I've been able to gather was the gameplay structure itself. Traditionally in Metroid games, you know, losing all of your abilities and having to explore the game world to find them in order to progress is pretty standard for any Metroid game, but obviously Other M had other ideas. Allowing Samus to keep most of our abilities from the start, but having them basically locked behind some dude in your ear saying he won't allow you to use them, that just doesn't feel like Metroid in any sense of the word. Like 2D, 3D, Prime or not, that don't feel right. That don't even sound right. And since Samus has most of her abilities on top of very clear objective markers for you to basically beeline through this very linear story and environment layout, I feel like that really removes the exploration aspect that Metroid has just been so known for. This game was co-developed by Team Ninja, so of course there was a lot of combat, which I actually like. I love fighting difficult enemies in Metroid games, but when there's no wandering off or getting lost anywhere to kind of break up the consistent combat and fights, it tends to feel more like a Ninja Gaiden game in space rather than like a Metroid adventure, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just felt a little imbalanced, at least with this game. Lastly, which is what many people would say was their most egregious offense, was the story / character assassination of Samus herself. Now, I like the voice acting. I like the cinematic cutscenes. I like the pretty graphics, especially for the Wii back in the day, 2010. I think this game is beautiful, very high quality, you know, like absolutely gorgeous. But this version of Samus that has her monologuing in a monotone, almost uninterested and robotic way, along with her interactions with Adam, just really was the final straw for a lot of fans of the franchise. Just how she was depicted and portrayed, less stoic and badass, more timid and uncertain. Just too much of a stark contrast from the previous Prime games that we had just recently gotten off of at that point in time. All right, but Dark, what's your point about all this? Why are you talking about Other M, Prime 4 is coming out this week? My point is that all of these issues are very prevalent and understandable in Other M, but in contrast, they're damn near non-existent when it comes to Prime 4. When you go back and listen or read those reviews, most, if not all, praise the controls, the combat. They love the silent and stoic Samus. The exploration is just as good as ever. The NPC characters aren't nearly as bad as the previewers led to believe, all while looking and running in the highest quality possible. So why a score basically as low as Other M? is my question. I really think it has a lot to do with how much and how long we've been waiting for Prime 4. I think a few of these reviewers were expecting this to be more of an evolution of Prime rather than the continuation or extension of 2 and 3 that it actually was. I can only tell y'all what I think was going on in a lot of these reviewers' minds. I don't think it gave the shock and awe that they might have been expecting, and that's kind of why I wanted to point this out, because I was wondering why the scores just didn't seem right to me. Now, of course, I'll still have to play the game myself, and we will be live streaming it this week on the channel, so if you're not subscribed, now's probably a good time to do so y'all can catch that and check out the game with me. But I have to ask, do you guys really feel that Prime 4 is really as bad as Other M? With the scores being so similar, I needed to go back and really digest and pick apart what bigger Metroid fans than me had issue with Other M to see if that held a lot of weight in the low score that Other M was getting. So to see Prime get such a close score, and in some cases maybe even at the end of the day the same score as Other M, while not being nearly as much of a departure from the Metroid franchise as a whole, it just had me scratching my head a little bit at the end of the day. But let me know what you guys think about this. Are you excited for Prime 4? Do you think the scores are accurate? Is it a Metroid Other M level title? Personally, I'm not agreeing, but again, we will have to wait and find out once the game comes out ourselves, and I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.